because whether I won the national title or, you go into like, the goal remains the same. You wake up, you get better, and yeah, you just keep doing it because you love it.
And I think that's why I love the sport so much. Like, it's so easy to be like, oh, the ref messed up. Oh, this, like, you can't blame anybody but yourself.
You come back to the States, like, you're getting taxed on that medal. You know what I mean? You're getting taxed on that medal. You kidding? Like, in other countries, they're giving you cars and they're giving you, the whole nine, So it's a different world over there.
Hello, guys. Welcome to F It Up. I'm your host, Effany Andre, and I'm joined today by four-time All-American Junior World Champion, and he's tougher than a rock. He is Rocky Elam. Thank you so much, Rocky, for joining us today. How are you doing?
Doing well. I'm just glad to be back in Columbia after spring break. Had a good season, and just really excited about what the future holds, so everything's good.
How was your spring break? I seen that you were in my home state, New York.
I know it. I went back to your hometown. It was so fun. Me and my sister went out there, and that was just like, we had planned that trip like 2 months in advance. We were like trying to get my whole family together, and we were like, oh, everybody's invited, but me and Kara were the only ones that took on it. And it's kind of funny because out of our whole family, I think we just love to visit New York. I don't know why, but we just love to go up there, and it's always like you can go there, I feel like, a million times and do different things every time you go. That's just how New York City is. But how far are you from New York City, Effany?
I'm 2 hours away.
Okay.
So I'm like more like upstate on the
You're
border
upstate,
of like
gotcha.
Connecticut.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Seems like only you and your sister meet at the group chat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where were your parents at?
So my mom, she had taken so many dates off for not only me and Zach's wrestling, but my sister has volleyball as well. So she like could not get those dates. I was like, Mom, I really want you guys to come. Like, if you can take these days off, that'd be great. And she was like, I just can't do it. Like, I'll probably have to take more days off in the future for different stuff. And like, we got our banquet coming up and stuff like that. And my sister's still playing volleyball. So it just didn't work out on my parents' end, but I think it honestly just ended up working out because me and my sister just had a blast, like just us two, and we kind of got to do whatever we wanted.
What'd you guys do? Like, where'd you see?
So we went to, we did like just a little bit of everything. We went down to Soho and just kind of did some shopping around there the first day, and then went to St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is a beautiful church and on Fifth Ave there. It's just, I love going there. We went to a daily mass there, and then what else did we do? Oh, we went to there's this one place called Teresi, and I like really wanted to go to it. It's this place I was seeing like all over Instagram reels, and I was getting sent TikToks by like Kara from it, and it's just like this really like upscale Italian place, and we literally went in there at 5:30 because I could not get a reservation, no way. So like we were just gonna like bank on getting a walk in, and we go in there at 5:30 one evening, and we put our name in, and they opened at 5. And they were like, yeah, there's 31 people ahead of you. The earliest we can get you in is 10:30.
Oh, my God.
And we were like, you know what? Put my name in. I want to go here this bad. So put our name in, went back literally five hours later, got seated, and got out of there by like midnight. But it was an awesome dinner.
Really?
Yeah, and I was really glad to go. So did that. Got some bagels, got some pizza, just the typical New York City stuff. You know, we're tourists.
You wanted to say nuance.
Exactly. But no, walked around Times Square. There's actually another really funny story. So me and my sister Kara, we were walking around Times Square. It was the first night we got there, and it's about 11:30 at night. You know, we're about to go back to the hotel, and we were like, oh, I kind of want some ice cream. I was like, you want some, Kara? She's like, yeah, we'll go get some. So went to this little ice cream place in Times Square, and as we were in there, we get our ice cream, walk out, and there's a homeless guy outside, and he's like not really waiting on us. He's just kind of outside, and he asked me, he's like, are you a wrestler? And I was like, yeah. And I was just thinking to myself, like, how does he know that? Is he looking at my ear? I don't know, just my frame. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. And then just keeps walking along, and me and my sister kind of watched him, and like literally not even 20 seconds after he asked me that, he's walking, and there's two girls that are like walking on the other side of him. One of them has a bag of Doritos. He like jumps out in front of one of them and tries to grab the bag of Doritos. Me and Kara were like, oh my goodness. And the girl like pulls away, like she was not giving up those bag of Doritos. She pulled away, kept the bag of Doritos, and me and my sister were just laughing because we were like, if I would have told him I wasn't a wrestler, he would have taken my ice cream. Like, I would not have ice cream. You know what I mean? So
He was trying to rob you.
exactly. Like, he wanted some food. I'm like, I would have bought him some ice cream. Just tell me. You know what I mean? So that was like worth the trip in itself.
That's definitely New York
yeah.
for you. Seriously. Do you think you would move
fun.
there?
See, that's like a different story. I feel like I don't like the city. It'd be hard to live in just because, I mean, there's Central Park there, but I feel like I gotta like touch some grass, like get outside, you'd be in nature. But, and it's just like such a fast paced city, you know? I don't know. I don't know if I could live there.
So you gotta go upstate, Hudson Valley area, where I'm from. It's like gorgeous.
I'm sure that's a little bit different.
Trees.
Plus,
Beautiful.
you can go to the city and whenever you want.
Whenever
you're only a couple hours away. So, did you visit the city a lot when you lived there, or no?
I did, but I didn't see like the tourist areas. Like you see like the real like
absolutely
ugly parts, and I'm like, I don't like this. This is not cute. I didn't love the city until I moved down, and until everyone's like, oh my god, New York City. Like they started like romanticizing, fantasizing it. So I'm like, I'm from New York. I don't even think it like that. So then when I went back to visit, I'm like, oh wait, this is actually so beautiful. But I actually just went to Chicago. Loved it. Like I do
love visiting
Chicago is beautiful. No one people do talk about Chicago a lot, but like it was my first time actually going, and it's like so clean, so beautiful. I'm like, this is like better than New York. I don't know. And then also they have like yachts. I know like during the summer, like because they have that river.
On that river,
they have like yacht parties and all that stuff. And I'm like, I want to do that. But like they really live up to their name, Windy City. I was taking a video and I was literally getting blown around.
You can hear it in the video.
Seriously, wig almost coming off. Like it was just a hot mess. Like it was just really windy, but it was honestly gorgeous. I also went to like a Bulls game too, so it was like a good Chicago type vibe.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I really did love it. You mentioned you and your sister. What was the place again that you guys ate?
So it was called Teresi, and it's just like
that's so crazy that you wait like 5 hours.
Oh, dude, I mean, I was surprised we got our name in, you know, because I didn't know what to expect, and like we literally went. They opened at 5, and we went at 5:30, and we got the reservation for like 10:30. We were like, what if we would have came like 30 minutes later? Like we wouldn't even have got our name in, you know?
That's insane. I know they talk about Carmine's a lot.
What is it?
It's Carmine's. It's like another like popular. I wanted to go there so bad when I went back home, but like. It's just as hard to get into as well.
I know, like Carbone's like another one. That one's like super popular. That is really popular. Everybody kind of knows that one, but yeah, there's a bunch of good Italian restaurants there.
And you're Italian, right? Like New York is home of the Italian.
Yeah, it's like I mean, a lot of like immigrants came through, you know, New York because it's just like Europe is so close on the map. Like that's the easiest access for the United States for Europeans. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of my ancestors came through there, and there's just a lot of Italians that still live there and have just, you know, generations that have come through there. So really cool.
I grew up with a lot of Italians, like a lot were they're in New York, obviously, but one of my childhood friends, her grandma her Nonna. She lived in Brooklyn, and so we would visit her Nonna, and she would make the best chicken cutlets, like crispy, thin. Oh my gosh, like the absolute best. Like I was obsessed. Like that's all I wanted to eat every single day. And then I don't know, like we were really close, so I was always getting them. Like, and if the Nonna didn't make it, her mom would make it, and it was just like I was obsessed with it, with the mozzarella. Oh my gosh, insane. Like I was obsessed. And then also, I'm so sorry, I'm going over.
You're good.
I did go to Italy one time.
Really? I didn't know you went to Italy.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But after I went to Italy, I became so obsessed with the culture. Like it just gave like really loving, caring type of nature. When I got back to America, I was obsessed with like mob movies, with like Goodfellas, with everything. No, I'm being so serious.
Watching all of them.
All of them. I watched like a Italian TV show. It was called Baby on Netflix.
Okay.
Like, back in like 2018, and I was like really learning the language like for real, because I was like, no, like I'm going to move to Italy. Like,
so it was actually in Italian, the show, or
the show was in Italian. Wow. Yeah, and I was learning it because I
thought you were gonna say Sopranos or something like someone of the American ass. You know what I mean?
No, I was like obsessed. Real. Yeah. So I love Italian.
That's
culture,
awesome.
People. Everything.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I have a real question that a lot of people. We were all debating before you got here, right? So. What is your name named after? Is it the great Rocky Johnson, the Canadian wrestler, Rocky Johnson, Rocky Balboa, or The Rock?
So that's a great question. I will say this, first and foremost, my mother named me. She always is like, she always makes sure I know that. My mother named me. She came up with it, and I give her all the credit. But I think it was more geared towards Rocky Balboa. I think. I haven't really got a definitive answer from my parents. But honestly, like, I just think they knew I was going to be like a fighter of some sort, a wrestler, you know. And it ended up being the case. Me and my brother both are wrestling, so I think it is more geared towards the Rocky Balboa movies. But I think plus it's just like Rocky Marciano was a Italian boxer who was undefeated. He was a great boxer. I think he fought in the mid 1900s, somewhere around that time period. But it's also just kind of an Italian name, and my mother's full Italian, so I think she just really liked the name and kind of picked it from just those different factors.
How do you properly pronounce your last name? Because there's a lot of different ways to pronounce it.
Yeah, there's oh my gosh, everybody pronounces it different, which is fine, but it's Elam. Is how it's actually.
Oh.
Yeah, it's fine, but people say Elam.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just all kinds of things. So, but Elam is the correct pronunciation.
So everyone, his name is Rocky Elam.
Elam, like a U.
Elam.
Except it's an A. That's why people say Elam. It's an A. So
I say Elm. That wasn't even close.
that's all right.
Elam. Okay, nice.
I'll take it.
Everything. Okay, cool. So your mother got this inspiration. Didn't know you were gonna be a wrestler, but you did turn out to be one.
Mhm.
You've been wrestling since you were 3 or 4 years old. So since you knew how to walk, you've been wrestling. Tell me about that journey of like how that even came about. I know your father, he brought you to a lot of wrestling matches when you were young, and that just sparked it and it went off. Tell me about that process.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, started wrestling when I was young, and my dad really exposed us to a lot of different things. I think he did a good job of just letting us pick what we wanted to do. We were wrestling, we were playing football, we were playing baseball. I played soccer later on in my like middle school when I was in middle school, but just kind of a testament to like we didn't really weren't forced to do anything. We kind of just chose what we wanted to do, and I didn't play baseball like from like fourth. It was like third or fourth grade on, and then just focused on football and wrestling, and then end up just wrestling by the time I got to high school. But yeah, I think even when we were young and doing those other sports, we still trained here and there, like wrestling year round, and even did some competitions in the off season. So we were always, I would say, like my parents always like favored or like exposed us mostly to wrestling because my dad was a wrestler in college. He even wrestled a little bit after college, and it was just kind of like I don't know. I think it was my favorite sport growing up, and just the sport that we all enjoyed as a family most, I guess, and just like I said, the sport that my parents had exposed us to from a young age, and just it's such a unique sport for us because like things like baseball and football they're team sports. You're doing it for a season and that's pretty much it. But wrestling's so unique in the fact that it's an individual sport. It's like you get out what you put into it. And I mean, this too, Effany, with being a track and field athlete, like you really you can't rely on anyone else to produce the outcome for yourself. Of course, you have a support system, but it's really just you out there competing, which is just like such a character builder in and of itself. And just the combat aspect of wrestling, where it's one-on-one fighting, is just it's such a unique thing. So yeah, just being exposed to it growing up is we were super exposed to it.
I love how you mentioned it's like an individual thing. Every time I do bad at a meet, I can't get mad at anyone else but myself. And
Exactly.
I think that's why I love the sport so much. Like, it's so easy to be like, oh, the ref messed up. Oh, this, like, you can't blame anybody but yourself. And that's why I was thinking when I got back from Florida, we were at Florida Relays just this past weekend. And I didn't do terrible, but it wasn't like what I wanted to do. And when I got back, I'm just like, well, I can't even like get mad at anyone else but
Right.
myself. Like, track is such a like in your face type of sport. You're either jumping it, you're either sprinting it, you're either throwing it. And if you're not, you're not. Like, it's in your face. You can't really
Yeah, there's no
judge or
escaping it.
there's no escaping
Right.
it. And I think that I love that though. Like, I
Me
feel
too.
like that's a true competitor. Like, when it's like you gotta fight yourself. Like,
Yeah. And the other thing with that, it was just like you have all the power in your hands to get better and to make those improvements. Like, you could be on a football team and like your tight end or your left tackle isn't doing their job, and that's the reason that the plays aren't working. But in wrestling and track and field, like it's all like it's all up to you. You know what I mean? So you have the power to go back and fix these things in training. And there's just like more, almost like, I don't know about control or just like power, potential, more, I guess, capacity for growth, just in yourself, because it's up to you to get better, So I really love that about individual sports.
you literally control your fate. Last time I was watching the NCAA women's tournament, LSU versus
Iowa.
Iowa.
Yep. I was
Great
watching a little
game.
bit
Great
yeah,
game.
it was awesome.
But it's like they pick there's a team of like 5, right?
Mm.
They're talking about one person each time, Caitlin Clark and Angela Reese.
Yeah.
Oh, that would blow my mind.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, you're not talking about
Yeah, it's
anybody
definitely a team
else,
effort.
just the one person. Like, there's so many people that are involved in making them that good, and they're only talking about one person. And it's just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm like selfish. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm
I agree
selfish,
with
but
that.
like it's just like there's so many people that's also helping. Like you can't just talk about one person the whole time, but that is what a team is. Like you have that one person. Even in the NBA, like you always talk about like Kevin Durant. You don't talk about the rest of the team. Like it's just how it is. But I think that's something that I really do love about track and field is that it's like your own person, and then you make your way depending on like what you do.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me about, or I saw that there was 9 set of brothers because you just came back. If anyone doesn't know, you just came back from nationals in your home state in KC. You finished in 6th place. Congratulations!
Thank you.
4-time All-American, only the 5th Tiger to ever do that.
Yeah.
Great, great, great stuff. But I saw that there's 9 set of brothers that qualified for the tournament. Only one, the Elam brothers, only Elam brothers came back with some hardware in their home state. So tell me about that feeling of how it was to compete in your home state.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was, I mean, almost that was definitely cooler than just All-American individually. Was I didn't even realize that stat. I knew there was other brothers in the tournament, but just the fact that me and Zach were some of the only ones to get All-American honors, it was so cool to do it with him, and I was just proud of Zach. I mean, that was his last go around, and it was in our home state, in our home city. So, and he just competed really well. You know, wrestled above his seed, beat some guys he's never beat, and it was just fun. Yeah, it's fun to wrestle, and it's kind of like, you know, everything you train for, and it's just everything you look forward to. So I always love competing at the nationals. So
I've seen that you and your brother are super, super close. I watched your video of last year. You were just coming off of meet, and you were just emotional about how much you love your brother and how much support that he gives you. Tell me about your relationship with you and your brother Zach.
Yeah, I mean, we've stuck together literally our whole lives. Like, I feel like at this point, many sets of brothers or sisters are like separated, just because, you know, that's how life takes you. Like, college usually separates people, and even siblings and stuff like that, or one's at home, one's away. You know, even with our sister, like she's at home, but yeah, me and Zach have pretty much stuck together our whole life. I mean, we've had maybe a year or two just with him graduating or high school before me, where we weren't living in the same house or in the same city together. So it's crazy to have someone that I spent so much time with and have gotten to know like so well, just through spending time with him. And yeah, it's a really unique relationship. It's really cool.
How does he inspire you?
That's a good question. You know, a lot of the things I think growing up, I've gotten to see Zach do it before me, and that has helped me to like learn like what does it take, and then not only that, but learning from Zach's mistakes. You know, like that has been such a big help, and I just always say like without Zach's journey going ahead of me, I really wouldn't have the same journey that I've had, and I think that continues even today, and I think even more now for both of us now that I've kind of grown up and matured. I'd say like when I was younger, it was probably more so Zach just like, you know, teaching me, guiding the way, but I think we've both grown into a role of really maturing and helping each other out. So it's like even better because it's kind of like a mutual benefit for both of us at this point, you know.
How do you feel your performance was at nationals?
Yeah, I thought it was a good experience overall. Obviously during the first part of the tournament, I won my first 3 and lost my last 3. So the first part of the tournament was a little bit more successful on just the winning side of things, but I think the whole tournament was a positive experience. And then, but yeah, just like any other tournament, like you get better with every match. That's the cool thing about a tournament is like a duel, like you just have one match, or you might have 2 if there's like if it's a tri duel. But with the tournament, it's just different. Like it's different wrestling. You get better. You kind of get that feel for the first match, and then you just kind of keep the ball rolling, and you kind of have that momentum factor where you don't really have that in a duel. So I thought that was really cool. Got to wrestle some guys that I had wrestled in the past. You know, somebody I hadn't beat before and beat him, and you know, just had some really good competition other than that. But you know, that's kind of why you do it, is just to get better. Like I'm not necessarily concerned about the outcome of it, even though it's a national tournament. Like the only thing I want to do is get better from it, you know, win or lose, whether I won the national title or, you know, you go into like, the goal remains the same. You wake up, you get better, and yeah, you just keep doing it because you love it. Because, you know, even through like my struggles, you know, this past season, you know, faced a couple losses. It was kind of hard because I had, you know, coming off a surgery from the summer. I just really had time to reflect and just like kind of think of why I do it, and just what success looks like to me, because I feel like you have to have like a definitive, like you have to have a definition for like what success is to you, because if you don't like have a definition of what that is, like you're pretty much gonna fall into what the world tells you it is. You know what I mean? And that's gonna be a title. It's gonna be something probably self-centered. You know what I mean? So I really just had time to reflect and think like, what does success mean to me? And that's just like, purely I do wrestling because I enjoy it and the Lord has called me to it and I do it for His glory. And if I can do those things, if I can enjoy myself when I wrestle, if I can, continue to get better, hopefully, and do it for the Lord, like that's success to me. It's not necessarily winning a national title. Like, of course, we want to do those things and be the best we can be at it, but that's just not the main focus. It's kind of like a byproduct is how I see it. And, just one thing that I've had time to reflect on and spend time in prayer is just like, if I, like, the only thing I got from my life was to, be closer to God and, be prepared for the kingdom when it comes, like, that's a successful life to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really need anything else. I don't need the titles. Like, if I'm prepared to meet God, like, that's success to me. So it's pretty deep stuff, but it's true. It's what I feel like God's taught me in the past season of life. So.
Mm-hmm. So do you go to Him for faith? Like when you're about to have a match, like what is going through your mindset? Like, oh, I got this. God has prepared me. Like, what are you thinking before you step foot on that mat?
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of time, like, I'll read from the Psalms because they're so comforting to me before I step out there. And then usually, like, once I get there, like, to the mat, my mind's usually pretty clear. Like, I was pretty happy with how I approached each match at Nationals this year. Like, even the matches I lost, I was happy with how I approached them. Like, I was feeling confident. My faith was strong, and I was relaxed. My mindset was pretty clear. I didn't have a lot of things like going on in my head, like whether it be worries or like what I need to do in order to be successful in that match. Like I felt prepared for each match, and I think that also is just that's you have to be prepared for that in the weeks to come. Like that's something that is prepared beforehand. That's not something where you get there and it happens. You know what I mean? Like you have to have those weeks, those months of preparation in order to have that clarity of mind when you step out there. Because that's what I feel like my training gives me is confidence, and obviously I feel like the Lord is present in my training too, so that comes from Him as well. But,
That's so true. My teammate Claudina, she was like, "There's no reason to be worried, to be feared, because if you know you put in the work, what are you worried about? Like
exactly.
you worked hard, so why do you need worry?" And she was so true. Like honestly, like this past weekend, I didn't really feel worried because I know I put in that work. It's going to show eventually. Like one of these days it will show, as long as you know that you keep on working hard, that it will pay off. So I really do agree with that as well. You mentioned that you beat somebody that you really wanted to beat. How is that dynamic in wrestling? Because I remember I mentioned when I was in Pan Am's, I met another wrestler. I forget his name, but he competes for Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. I'm trying to think of who it might be.
Yeah.
Was he like actually from Puerto Rico, or was he from America and trans? Do you know?
Yeah, he's American, but like he competes for Puerto Rico. And I remember I told you like I told him I go to Mizzou, and he was like, "Oh, do you know Rocky?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know Rocky." And he was like, "Oh, I just want to beat him." Like my whole life, awesome. Like his whole life, he spent like 6 years like contemplating about how the next time he sees you, he's going to beat you because like you beat him one time, and he just could not live with himself. Is that common in wrestling? Like you just have this one person that you just gotta beat next time you see them. Was that how you felt with this one person, or just
Man, I don't think it was definitely. Like I think most like. From a training standpoint in wrestling, I'm just trying to focus on how I could be the best wrestler I could be. If I get too hung up on what another guy's doing or what he's gonna, or how he's training or what he's gonna throw at me, like I might get distracted, But I think there is a healthy amount of like there's a balance between okay, I'm focused on myself, but I also want to, be prepared to respond to what this guy might present me in the match. So I think there's like a healthy balance of it. But I think most of your training should be focused more on yourself. Like I don't think you should be focused too much on your opponent because like. You don't have control over what they're doing, you only got control over what you're doing. So, but yeah, there's a lot of wrestlers that do that go from America to other countries and compete. We're seeing that a lot more, but yeah, that's really interesting. You had that experience.
We do that for track too. I feel like track and wrestling are kind of like very similar. Do you think that wrestling gets treated well here in America?
I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I think like collegiate wrestling is more popular than international wrestling in the wrestling world. So I think that gets treated like to the respect it deserves, like collegiate wrestling, but like freestyle wrestling, which is like the off season, like international wrestling, I don't think that gets as much attention or like respect it deserves in the States. I think like in like places like Iran and even Russia and some of these like Asian countries where like that's like their national sport over there, like, especially
Mm.
Iran, like Iran for sure. Like wrestling is their national sport. So if you think of like football or basketball
Mm-hmm.
here, or like even soccer in like European countries, like that's how wrestling is in like some Asian countries, like Azerbaijan, Iran, parts of Russia. Um, like those guys get treated like kings if they're win, and sometimes they'll come back from a world championship from medaling or getting gold, and they'll get cars and apartments and money and political status even like given to them in other countries, and you just don't see that here. Like you come back to the States, like you're getting taxed on that medal. You know what I mean? You're getting taxed on that medal. You kidding? Like in other countries, they're giving you cars and they're giving you, I mean, the whole nine. So it's a different world over there. But yeah.
Do you think you would ever compete for Italy? Do you have like?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm getting my citizenship right now, actually. So yeah, I'm actually in the process of getting dual citizenship. My brother and I, and as long as everything follows through,
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely a foreseeable avenue for me is wrestling for Italy, and my brother because we have the same documents. Our family lineage is the same. So
Right. I
so
would
we're
hope
actually,
so.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh, it might be a surprise coming
Right.
up. No, but yeah, we got that. We got that in the works right now. So hopefully by next year, we can be wrestling for Italy. But like that's something like again I've been praying a lot about. It's like, man, I'm just thankful I get to wrestle on the international scene.
Mm-hmm.
If I wrestle for Italy, USA, it doesn't matter. I'm thankful I get to do it. So, but yeah, that's something that's in the works right now, and hopefully everything goes well with it.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like smaller sports have to worry about that. Like basketball and other sports, you don't think about that. But for
hmm
track and field, there's a lot of people who are American, but then they go to wherever their grandparents are from because it's
right.
just easier. Especially, it's so hard to make the American team for track and fields. And so I was trying to do that. I was like, because my dad, he's Haitian, my mom's
Okay.
Barbadian. So I was trying to get on those national teams, but it just wasn't working out. Like it was not in my cards.
hmm
So luckily, I did make it to Team USA. So it honestly made me feel like, Evan, you got to give yourself more props. But I
Yeah,
didn't think it would be
exactly.
possible. I'm like, I can't do it on the USA team. But no, yeah, it is something that we do have to go through. So you mentioned having faith for wrestling.
hmm
How do you go about having a tough season? Like I've had bad seasons before, and I'm just like, it's so discouraging. Like it's so hard to pick yourself up to keep on going. How do you get yourself to keep on going?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Like, I just think, man, definitely prayer is like one thing that gets me through a lot of those tough times. But just persevering and knowing that like it is all preparation for something that I can't see at this point. And every time like I've gone through a difficulty or a trial, like I can't see that in the moment, but I always look back and I'm like, man, that was beneficial for me. And there's times where I'm like, man, why is this happening? Like, what in the world is going on? Like, this
Mm-hmm.
can't be good for me. And then,
Seriously.
like, even like injuries, like I'm sure you're talking about how you had to face an injury. Like, you just like, why is this like I have to, be out of my sport. Like, how can this be good for me? And there's always something that I can look back, even if even if I don't see it at the time. Like, I can look back and be like, wow, that really benefited me. So, just really trusting that it's for my good and in the future. And like I said, it's like all preparation for not only the nationals, but even beyond that. So just kind of looking at it like a process as opposed to like it's like the whole like my identity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. When did you obtain this mentality? Like, were you always like, "Oh, I'm gonna give it to God" when you were young, or was it in college that you got like that, or high school? When did you get like this?
I'd say more towards college. Like I probably wasn't influenced as much in my faith growing up. Like I would say growing up, I had a good foundation because I went to Catholic school all throughout, elementary, went up until sixth grade. But once I got into like middle school and high school, there just wasn't a lot of like I wasn't pushed in it a lot. I wasn't pushed in my faith a whole lot. So when I got to college, it was kind of like a pleasant surprise to see like a lot of Christian athletes, like yourself, Effany, and we had AIA that I think we met there actually, and just a lot of people, pushing me in my faith. I have, Bus Tarbox, who's our team doctor. Shout out to him. We have a study, for our team every week. And just, I met all kinds of people that were Christian and pushed me in my walk. And I think that's definitely where it started to come from. I didn't really know, like, I think, faith was something at first that I was like, oh, this could help me in wrestling. It's just kind of one of those things that it was baby steps. And then I kind of realized it was something more than that. And that relationship with God kind of developed from there. And then, I just, so I think that's where it kind of stems from. it was definitely like a baby steps thing. It wasn't like, man, you wake up and you're there or something like that. So
Right. Shout out AIA. So if you don't know, AIA is a sports Bible study where all athletes come join together and just talk about God and grow their spiritual faith.
absolutely.
Shout out Nathan. We love Nathan. He was really
Yes, he's
helpful.
awesome.
One of the times you had one of your coaches come at one of the AIA meetings, and he talked about how when he prayed to God and he was reading the Bible, he was doing great in his sport, which is wrestling. But then when he stopped, he wasn't doing too good. And then he started to blame God in his journey. And basically, it was a really great story about his faith and how he got to where he is in his life and knowing that wrestling isn't all that he is. Like, he is more than just wrestling. Like, everyone is just more than their sport. And I think that's really important to say and recognize. And I loved when he came and talked to us because I was like, wow, like, because he was honestly one of the greats. What was his name again?
Yeah, that's Coach Kendrick Maple.
Okay, so it was Coach Maple.
He's
then.
awesome. He's the man.
Yeah, like I loved his story. I was like, okay, and that's the beginning stages of when I started to join AIA because I feel like I joined AA or got closer in my faith when like life was lifing, and I was like, oh my god, this is kind of
for real.
It's a lot. You know, got no seatbelt on. I'm just going on this ride, and it was a mess. But yeah, he was honestly amazing, and I love that your whole team like does Bible study together. That just shows like how strong you guys are, and just shows like I don't know. I just really love that. Like who came about that? Like starting that.
Yeah, that's so Bus, like I said, our team doctor Bus Tarbox, he kind of started it, I think like even like 8 to 10 years before I got here. So it was like, you know, early 2010s, maybe around that time, maybe even a little bit before, but he just kind of talks about the guys that have come through the Bible study, you know, the Mizzou wrestlers, the guys that we look back and they're like, man, they were awesome wrestlers. And he was like, yeah, those are guys that were in our study every week and how it's just continued to up into that point. And it's pretty cool because since I've been in it, you know, my brother Zach kind of got me into, because he was going before I was, you know, in college, and then we started going together. Once I got into college, and you know, when I first got into college, my freshman sophomore year, it was, you know, maybe 5 to 10 guys, you know, fluctuated in that range. And lately, you know, this past I'd say 3 to 4 months, we've had our most guys ever in the study. It's been you know, 20 to 25 guys pretty consistently, which is awesome. You know, over half of our team, and you know, guys are just getting influenced in the right direction. And just on that, you know, that spiritual sense, like guys are really diving into the faith, which is a good thing to see.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
In an article, it says that you've known Coach Smith and Coach Bradley like your whole lives. Like your whole lives, you literally have met them. Tell me like the best advice that the two have ever given you.
That's a really good question. Coach Tom, man, he is so funny. He's awesome. He literally is like, he's the most simple. He will give the most simple but like straightforward and good advice ever. Like he'll just tell him like I said, they've both known me for my whole life, so I feel like they really know what is what I want to hear, or what's good for me to go out there before a match. You know, what really, you know, gets me going or gets me prepared for a match. So Coach Tom is just always like, you're the best in the world. Go be the best in the world. That's what he's always saying. And he's just like, just telling me really simple things, like really simple principles about wrestling, like get to this action. Like when a guy does this, just run corner, like stuff like that, you know, just really simple and precise stuff that'll get me prepared. And then Coach Smith, man, he's always got these freaking war speeches that he gives before each tournament. I'm like, he really does a good job with the meetings that we have. Like, if that's one thing I could say about him, like, man, like he knows how to get you going before a tournament starts. And we at the national tournament this year, we even did like a little meditation and like before the event, the night before the event, and it was just like kind of like this visualization thing where he kind of like took us through like the tournament and like our like individual matches and just getting our hand raised and stuff like that. And he even started out with like when we started the meditation, he started with like, remember when you were just started wrestling and you had just started doing it and how much fun you were having and how much you were learning and your parents taking you to practice. And it was like a really like sentimental feeling to me, because we were in Kansas City and I realized like, man, this just happened like 20 minutes away. So this is like a really full circle moment for me. Like I started it here and this is where I'm at right now. Like it's not the end, but this is where I'm at right now. So it was like a big full circle moment. And yeah, he just gives really, really cool speeches. Yeah, I've known those guys ever since I was young, and especially even Dom, like he helps out with like the high school Missouri wrestling. And you know, he was my coach at some national tournaments and stuff coming up through high school, and did camps for my dad when I was younger, and I was in those camps. So I got to see Dom all throughout my youth career.
Do you think you ever coach?
I do. I'm actually looking to get my master's in positive coaching. So,
Me too.
and yeah, let's go, Effie. Let's go. But yeah, that's definitely an avenue I can see myself going down. I think if I did want to coach, I'd probably want to do it on the college level or above. I don't know if I would want to do it on the high school level or below, just because of the fact that like I'd probably have to be a teacher as well if I wanted to be a high school coach.
You're not
But
teaching those
no,
kids.
I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm really not trying to be a teacher. But yeah, I think definitely after wrestling, I mean, I'm gonna want to stay involved with wrestling in some capacity. So that's just the easy way to do it, and it's just something I enjoy. I was talking to Coach Todd, and I was like, so like, were you more busy as a student athlete or as a coach? And he's like, oh, I was more busy as a student athlete. I was like, thank God. Like, I'm not trying to be this busy after I get done. Like, I was glad to hear that this would be the busiest I would be if I wanted to be a coach in the future. Because I just like to, the times that I enjoy most is like when I just get to focus on wrestling. Like, very thankful I get to go to school at the University of Missouri, but I love to wrestle and I just love to focus on my training. And as a coach, I feel like that's what you get to do. You just get to focus on coaching. So, yeah, it's definitely something I see myself doing.
Yeah, I can see being coach. You look like a good coach.
Thank you.
What would you tell a boy? He's 8 years old in Kansas City. Wants to be the best wrestler in the entire world, and he looks up to you. He wants to be just like you. What's the best advice that you would give him?
That's a really good question. I would just say, like I said, I like when my coaches keep it really simple and precise with me. So I would just say, have fun and work hard, because it's really, as cliche or simple as it sounds, like that's all it takes. It's just hard work and have fun. And, obviously like my faith has played a role in that. So you have to have trust in that process, and you have to have patience with the Lord, but just have fun and work hard, because especially from a young age, like if you get burnt out too quick, like you're probably not, like in the long run, it's not going to be good. You're not going to enjoy it once you get to high school and college. So I think you have to keep that fun aspect in there. And even though it is fun when you're young, like you got to go through some hard times. Like my dad would put us in, he would put me and Zach like in like an age group above. So it's like in wrestling, it's like 8 and under, 10 and under. It's like 2 year gaps, 8 and under, 10 and under, 12 and under, 14 and under. And like I'd be like 8 years old and he'd be putting me in like 10 and under, just so I can get that competition. Like I can have that challenge. Or like I'd be wrestling like 2 brackets in one weekend or one tournament sometimes, like 6 and under whatever 70 pounds, or an 8 and under 70. Like I'd be wrestling those 2 brackets, whatever it may be. So I think like that competition, or that to be like go through struggle or be challenged when you're young especially, is a good thing. It creates that character and that discipline, but at the same time, like I'd say like having fun is more important almost, just because even for me now, like if I'm not having fun with it, why would I do it?
Exactly.
So like I know I'm gonna be challenged, but I want to have fun.
All right, I'm going to ask you a quick couple questions,
Okay.
cute and easy, and then we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
I know that you're a big anime fan. What is the best anime show to watch for someone who doesn't watch anime like myself?
I'd say Dragon Ball Z, because I've watched that all throughout my youth. I think Naruto is a good one, and I also think like Demon Slayer is a good one. So you've really done your research, Evan. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I watch anime and everything. Wow,
And I know you
that's
was heartbroken
awesome.
when he died.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I'd say Dragon Ball Z is a good one.
Okay. What's your favorite ice cream?
Sparky's. Rocky Road, you gotta go with that one. But I really like the cookies and cream from Sparky's. They do a great job. Or the S'moreo. It's like a specialty flavor.
What's like your biggest ick? Like you hate?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say one is, I don't like when people wear like other college like teams like on campus. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, that's kind of a pet peeve. Like, you're going to University of Missouri, show some Tiger pride.
And
you
you're
know
wearing
what I mean?
Kentucky stuff.
Yeah, you can't be wearing Bama and Florida, whatever it may be. That's kind of a pet peeve.
Where is the next place you want to travel to?
Great question. I can't say New York City, I guess. I just went there.
Out
Probably
the
Italy.
country.
Italy for sure. Yeah, like I said, I've never been to Italy, but if I get my dual citizenship, that's probably where I'll be going next. So,
If you weren't doing wrestling, what other sport would you do? Like, and you'd be like the best at?
oh man, that's a good one. I would say probably like boxing or MMA. I don't know. I feel like I want to be in some kind of combat sport because I love it. An individual sport.
Yeah. And if you were to have a movie, who would play you?
Good one. I would say, okay, this is going to be kind of funny, but the guy that that was Drago in Rocky 4.
Okay.
Like if I was an adult, I think he would play me. Like he looks more like me. I look more like him than Rocky. You know what I mean? So probably Drago from Rocky 4.
Okay, we'll put a picture out so we can see what he looks like.
Yeah.
And then one pregame song that you listen to before every meet.
I would say there's a song called Promises. It's a worship song, and it's a really just like very serenity, very peaceful song. So I like that one.
Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in to F It Up. Thank you, Rocky, for being here. We really appreciate it. And tune in to the next video.